County District Attorney Fonnie Willis on a 94-page indictment spelling out 220 charges against 26 people alleged to be involved with the drug-rich gang.
They use things like prescription bottles and money symbols, and this is in their jewelry and their tattoos, and we see that present here.
Former Atlanta Falcon is charged in a major human trafficking bust in Gwinnett County. The operation is tied to some of the biggest gangs in the country. A grand jury has charged 8 people, including the ex-player Eric Johnson, with trafficking women for sexual servitude, terrorism, and kidnapping.
Police say they've dismantled a dangerous street gang in Gwinnett County.
That's right. 2 gang bosses, along with several other more gang members, are behind bars tonight.
Since January, Gwinnett County police have arrested more than a dozen members of the 59 Brims.
A gang shootout on neighborhood streets. Now police are cracking down. They've arrested 10 people on 70 felony charges.
From quiet suburban neighborhoods to bustling city streets, Gwinnett County, Georgia has become an unexpected battleground in the fight against violent street gangs. In recent years, massive RICO indictments and high-profile raids have exposed a dangerous underworld of shootings, drug trafficking, ruthless robberies, and organized crime that rivals big city syndicates. Today, we dive deep into the hidden world of the 56 Gang, drug-rich crew, La Gran Familia, Gangster Disciples, 59 Brim Bloods, and the Lotto Gang, revealing shocking stories of power, betrayal, and survival. Buckle up, because what lies beneath the surface might change how you see Georgia forever.
A gang shootout on neighborhood streets. Now police are cracking down. They've arrested 10 people on 70 felony charges.
You can see the bullet holes still in the garage at this house. If you look up, there's a bullet hole still in the window. Neighbors tell me they ducked for cover as this house was targeted. But even as the suspects were running out, a completely innocent family had their house shot up as well. Now there is relief that police have 10 people in custody.
I'm still in shock that this went like this over here.
A shooting that Gwinnett County police say was gang-related still has neighbors in this Buford community rattled and upset.
An ongoing investigation into a series of gang-related shootings in Gwinnett County has resulted in the arrest of 10 individuals and the issuance of multiple warrants. The probe began when Gwinnett County police responded to a shots-fired call on Brookdale Drive in Buford, Georgia, where several homes had been struck by gunfire. Investigators determined the incident stemmed from a gang dispute. Days later, 18-year-old Kamani Semi Rhodes, who had been a victim in the Brookdale Drive shooting, spotted someone he believed was behind the attack. Police say Rhodes and 19-year-old Willie Taylor opened fire from their vehicle as they passed the alleged suspect's car. Following both shootings, officers arrested 6 suspects and later identified 4 more individuals connected to a series of gang-related crimes. The suspects, all between the ages of 16 and 20, face charges ranging from aggravated assault and armed robbery to participation in criminal street gang activity.
Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis on a 94-page indictment spelling out 220 charges against 26 people alleged to be involved with the drug-rich gang.
They use things like prescription bottles and money symbols, and this is in their jewelry and their tattoos, and we see that present here.
Investigators say the gang started in DeKalb County in 2016, but has branched out across metro Atlanta, committing crimes like shootings, home invasions, and burglaries. Their 16 targets include Atlanta celebrities, athletes, and influencers who all post their possessions on social media.
They're immediately going to closets. They're immediately going to bedrooms. They know where these high-end items are.
According to this indictment from the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, investigators used rap lyrics and social media to track down some of the gang members. Last week, Sandy Springs police announced the arrest of 3 people in Florida tied to the drug-rich gang. Sergeant Matt McGinnis says gang members are not stopping there.
In January 2023, Gwinnett County authorities unsealed a sweeping 210-count RICO indictment that sent shockwaves through Metro Atlanta's law enforcement and criminal justice community. The case targeted 2 violent and interconnected street gangs, the 56 Gang, and the drug-rich crew responsible for a disturbing pattern of violence, retaliation, and organized crime stretching back to at least 2021. The investigation, which began after a deadly shooting in Duluth, would uncover a ruthless criminal enterprise built on fear, drugs, and gunfire and culminate in the arrest of 25 individuals, with one fugitive still at large. The investigation began in earnest after the August 2021 deletion of Jeremiah Preto, who was shot and met his demise on Boggs Road in Duluth, Georgia. Authorities say Preto was lured to the location by members of the 56 Gang, ambushed, and executed in a planned hit. His murder wasn't random. It was part of a broader power struggle between the 56 Gang and rival sets, particularly a faction known as the Blitz. The demise became the centerpiece of the indictment and revealed the gang's use of calculated violence to eliminate perceived enemies and assert control over their territory. In addition to the Preto demise, members of 56 and Drug Rich were tied to multiple attempted deletions. Investigators detailed several incidents where gang members fired into occupied vehicles and homes, targeting rival gang members and even civilians caught in the crossfire. These shootings were often planned in group chats or during in-person meetups, with designated drivers, shooters, and lookouts. One attempted shooting involved a car chase and shootout in a residential neighborhood, putting dozens of lives at risk. Another targeted a rival who had allegedly posted disrespectful messages on social media, resulting in a high-speed pursuit and gunfire exchanged in broad daylight. The gangs didn't survive solely on drug profits. They also engaged in violent armed robberies and carjackings, often using the proceeds to purchase firearms, drugs, or fund music videos used for gang promotion. Victims were frequently robbed at gunpoint for their vehicles, phones, or cash. In one case, a teenager was beaten, stripped, and robbed at gunpoint by 56 gang members who later posted about the incident online. In another, drug-rich members carjacked a delivery driver, using the vehicle later in a retaliatory drive-by. The indictment details dozens of robberies, each one marked by escalating brutality and brazen disregard for law enforcement presence. Drug RICS, in particular, operated as a street-level drug trafficking operation, distributing drugs. The gang used apartments, trap houses, and Airbnbs as storage and distribution hubs. Members often sold drugs directly to users, but also relied on middlemen and social media to move product. Proceeds were used to bail out arrested members, purchase firearms, and sustain gang operations. Surveillance and confidential informants revealed Drug Rich's role in the Atlanta area pill trade, especially targeting young adults and high school students with fake Percocets and Xanax laced with fentanyl, creating both street clout and deadly consequences. As law enforcement pressure increased, gang members turned to intimidation tactics to silence potential witnesses. This included threatening known informants, sending coded messages online, and harassing families of cooperating individuals. In some cases, retaliation occurred swiftly after someone posted about cooperating with police. Several defendants were caught on jail calls discussing whether certain individuals could be trusted or should be handled. These actions directly led to enhanced charges of witness tampering and terroristic threats, a growing concern for prosecutors trying to bring these cases to trial. In May 2015, law enforcement launched one of the most significant gang busts in Gwinnett County history, Operation Gran Familia. This multi-agency operation uncovered a highly structured Latino gang alliance operating under the name Gran Familia. Far from being a single gang, Gran Familia functioned as a powerful umbrella organization uniting several violent sets, including the Latin Kings, Brown Side LoKos, Malditos 13, and Pachucos 21. These gangs shared resources, territory, weapons, and drug networks while retaining their own identities under Gran Familia's broader command. The network operated with military-like discipline. Over a nearly 2-year investigation, authorities uncovered drug trafficking, illegal gun sales, money laundering, and violent crimes. Members had taken over entire apartment complexes, using threats and fear to silence residents. These strongholds served as distribution hubs, often arranged through coded messages on social media. The operation reached its climax on May 20, 2015, when police executed 38 state and 22 federal arrest warrants across Gwinnett and neighboring counties. 13 suspects were taken into custody, while 5 high-ranking members remained on the run. According to authorities, what made Gran Familia especially dangerous was its structure. It wasn't just a street gang, it was a criminal syndicate. Members held defined ranks, from recruiters and drug runners to enforcers and soldiers tasked with carrying out violent retaliation. Some even had dual affiliations with national gangs like the Serranos and Latin Kings, increasing their influence across Georgia. In late 2011, Gwinnett County authorities wrapped up a major gang bust following an intensive 8-month investigation targeting a local branch of the Gangster Disciples, a nationally recognized gang originally founded in Chicago. The gang had transformed an apartment complex on Castor Drive into a criminal hub, using it as a base for drug activity, intimidation, and organized crime. Residents reported being surveilled by gang lookouts and were often threatened if they attempted to speak out. One detective recalled chilling warnings delivered to neighbors. "If you ever do that again, we're going to rob your house. We're going to shoot you." The multi-agency operation culminated in a massive warrant sweep, resulting in 49 arrests, 248 felony warrants, and 96 felony indictments. Investigators connected 20 of those arrested to at least 16 confirmed burglaries, with suspicion of involvement in over 50 additional break-ins. Among the most serious incidents tied to the group was a June 28 shooting at the Columns at Paxton Lane Apartments in Lilburn. There, alleged members Brandon Mosley and Hunter Davis were charged with deletion and aggravated assault following the fatal shooting of Loganville resident Angelo LaRocca. Another violent encounter took place earlier in April, when gang member Daryl Fuller reportedly aimed a firearm at officers. Police returned fire, deleting Fuller on the scene. As the dust settles on these sweeping indictments and community-shaking arrests,
police say they've dismantled a dangerous street gang in Gwinnett County.
That's right. 2 gang bosses, along with several other more gang members, are behind bars tonight.
Since January, Gwinnett County police have arrested more than a dozen members of the 59 Brim Bloods street gang, including 29-year-old Wanawan Wanzon, the alleged leader of the Atlanta branch of the gang, and Marlon Smith, the so-called leader of the gang branch in Virginia and North Carolina.
We believe that they are responsible for several crimes.
In January 2019, the Gwinnett Gang Task Force, which includes detectives and uniformed officers from the Gwinnett County Police Department, as well as deputies from the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office, launched an investigation into the 59 Brim's Blood Street Gang. The 59 Brims, originally formed in the Ocean View Hills neighborhood of San Diego, have been active in Gwinnett County. Seizure of significant amounts of illegal drugs. Authorities also recovered 18 firearms, 4 of which had been reported stolen.
Former Atlanta Falcon is charged in a major human trafficking bust in Gwinnett County. The operation is tied to some of the biggest gangs in the country. A grand jury has charged 8 people, including the ex-player Eric Johnson, with trafficking women for sexual servitude, terrorism, and kidnapping. The list goes on.
Now a former Atlanta Falcon indicted in a major human trafficking bust in Gwinnett County that also has ties to some of the biggest gangs in the country. 11 Alive's John Sherrick has the story.
It is a 96-count indictment issued by a Gwinnett County grand jury charging 8 people, 7 of them shown here, with trafficking women for sexual servitude, terrorism, kidnapping, aggravated assault, gang activity, racketeering. One of the accused, Eric Johnson. Georgia's Attorney General, the prosecutor in this case, calls Johnson one of the 3 leaders of the so-called Lotto Gang, orchestrating violent crimes with the others. Eric Johnson, a former pro football player. He began his NFL career with the Oakland Raiders in 2000 and in Super Bowl 37 in 2003. Johnson, on defense, recovered a block punt and ran for a touchdown. Johnson then played 1 season for the Atlanta Falcons and 1 more for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, just one of the accusations in this indictment against Johnson is that he, along with others in the gang, trafficked an underage teenage girl for sex.
The Lotto Gang is a hybrid criminal organization based in Gwinnett County, Georgia, with ties to both the Crips and Gangster Disciples. In February 2023, 8 alleged members were indicted by a Gwinnett grand jury following a major human trafficking investigation. Among those charged were the gang's alleged president and vice president, Sean Shooter Harvey and Sean Jock Curry. Prosecutors accused the gang of operating a violent criminal enterprise that trafficked 5 victims, including a minor, using physical violence, weapons, and coercion. The charges included human trafficking, kidnapping, aggravated assault, and conspiracy to violate Georgia's RICO Act. In April 2025, both Harvey and Curry pleaded guilty to racketeering charges involving human trafficking and gang activity. 5 other Lotto members were also convicted on related RICO, trafficking, and weapons charges. Court records revealed disturbing details, including beatings, forced servitude, and intimidation tactics used to silence victims. Gwinnett County stands as a stark reminder of how deeply organized gangs can root themselves into everyday life and how resilient communities and law enforcement must be to fight back. These stories aren't just about crime. They're about the lives disrupted, the neighborhoods forever changed, and the ongoing battle to reclaim safety and hope. By shedding light on these hidden networks, we take one step closer to understanding and ultimately stopping the cycle of violence that threatens our streets.